Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
And thank you for being here. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Welcome to it. Jeffy joins us again today. I think Keith's back tomorrow, right?
It's reported that he's supposed to be back tomorrow.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know. If he survived the eclipse, if he survived wherever he went, then I guess he'll be back.
I guess. That would.
I haven't actually cared enough to check.
Really?
Yeah. I've been busy.
As close as the two of you are, I would have assumed you were checking on him virtually every day. But no?
I've been busy.
Okay.
I've been busy. I mean, I haven't had a missed call from him, so he hasn't really checked in with me either.
That's weird.
I know.
That's really strange.
That's what I'm saying.
Hope everything's okay. I guess we'll find out.
We will. We will.
Somebody do a wellness check on Keith.
I see him posting on his stupid X account. Shut up.
All right. Well, good. Good. So he did survive.
He did survive, yeah.
The eclipse.
Yeah, he did.
That was a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
Chris seems to have left us, though, today.
Yeah, he did.
Lance has joined us to run the board. Thank you for being here. Great to have you back.
He's out gallivanting the world.
Yeah. He's got a wedding or something to go to somewhere?
One of his sisters is getting married.
All right.
Congratulations.
Well, the enthusiasm with which you offer
him,
congratulations.
I'm happy for each and every one of them.
Sensing some of that. Sensing a lot of that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right. Let's start with Joe Biden because he's so brilliant, and he gave some really powerful, profound advice yesterday, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But he also... Did he tell the train story a little bit yesterday as well?
He told a bunch of stories. He did this interview.
You got to love it.
I mean, it's just terrible.
All right. A little different twist, apparently, on the train story. Cut 9.
And I tell you what, I really wonder, why did I commute every single day? Over 1 million miles round trip over the time I was in the United States Senate.
Okay. He didn't go in depth, though,
no,
on
he
the
did
Ange story.
No, he did not.
Angelo didn't get any credit.
No.
For telling him about the millions of miles. In fact, it's down to 1 million now. It was 2 million before, was it not? I think it was 2 million. Yeah. It was 2 million miles.
More.
Because he supposedly traveled, I don't know, 1 million miles or something on Air Force One or Air Force Two. And Ange was saying, Joey, baby, that's nothing.
Right, he came up to me and I had to stop the Secret Service.
The Secret Service almost shot him in the head. Yeah. I had to tell him, lifelong friend.
Stop, it's okay.
And he's already dead, so don't kill him again. He's already dead.
He's retired and dead.
He had literally retired, I don't know, 20 years before the story supposedly took place.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, it was in the early 90s, I believe. And this supposedly happened while he was vice president. So, sometime between 2009 and 16. Crazy. But he actually, did he actually run? It wasn't a fake jog. He actually did.
It was interesting. It was, he did kind of try to prove that he was vigor. Now, I will say that there were a couple of times where he kind of screamed yesterday and hollered. So I think he got his medication.
Oh, all right. Here he is. That's the same goofy.
That's darn near Kenyan.
Gosh!
That's darn near Kenyan for him. I mean, you want to talk about distance running.
Yeah, that's like a marathon. You're right. You're right. Show us that again. God, so aggravating. Look at that. Oh, what a moron.
If you think these are aggravating.
I'm telling you,
I can't stand. There's more clips coming, Pat, that are just...
I can't stand to look at him.
It's going to be... This interview on Univision is maddening. I mean, good.
Is good. Great, maybe even. Yeah, well, I'll bet. I bet it is.
I mean, holy cow.
Well, let's start at the end. Here's how the way he ended his angry speech.
Yeah. This
yesterday.
is the same thing where I think that's why the medication kicked in. Because remember the State of the Union when he was extra medicated.
Yeah.
We're the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing.
Calm down.
We do it together.
Oh, we do it together. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, let me throw that in.
Yeah. Well, because he's such a uniter. You know, he loves all Americans.
So he got into
He's
office.
the president for all Americans.
So he got into office.
Well, he was going to unite this country, and look at the job he's done.
Man.
Stuck like glue to one another is what we are. Am I right? I mean,
No, you're right.
yeah. Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. Amen. I can whatever you need. I'm here for you.
So he lied about the deficit cut, which he always does.
Our administration's already cut the deficit by $1 trillion.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to cut it even more this decade by making big corporations and very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
Oh, my gosh. So he's still talking more tax increases.
Yep.
We're still not out of the woods on tax increases. And he continues, of course, as we mentioned, the lie about cutting the deficit. We add $1 trillion every 100 days. That's unprecedented in world history by anyone. Of course, I mean, if we haven't done it, obviously nobody else has. Right. But never, I mean, 200 years, more than 200 years. It took from Washington to Reagan, George Washington to Ronald Reagan to get $1 trillion into debt. Now it happens every 100 days. It's incomprehensible. It really is. And now he's claiming that he's a deficit cutter.
That's him.
Okay.
That's him.
All right. And he got tough with a heckler yesterday.
Going to get back to work. Well, I'll tell you what. You want to come make a speech or shush up, okay?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not messing around with him. He looks like he could take me. Ask me.
I'm not quite sure what he says there when he's so angry at the end. I listened to
Anthony?
it multiple times.
Sounds like he says Anthony.
Times, and I can't figure out what he's hollering.
Yeah, let's see if we can figure it out. Play it again.
He looks like he could take me.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me.
Ask me, Anthony.
See, I don't know.
Well, he's got that lifelong stuttering problem, and that's why you can't understand anything he says.
That's what it is.
Lifelong stuttering.
That's what it is. So he dares the guy to come up.
Yeah.
And then, I think he could take me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fake humility, like the fake jog. That's great. He was asked what his legacy will be by some reporter.
Did you spend a lot of time thinking about what your legacy would look like?
Well, I hope the legacy is that I kept my word, that I said that the reason I was running was to help change the life of ordinary people.
Okay.
And reduce the prospect of war.
Oh, what?
Because of Vietnam.
What?
And when I ran, I said that I was once asked, well, why when I was 29 years old, said it must be a secret. And I said, yeah, the secret you got to ask yourself is, what are you willing to lose over? You figure out what you're willing to lose over, you got an idea of what you should be doing. And so I hope my legacy is that I was honest, straightforward, and did what I said.
You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. My gosh. I guess this stuff works on people who haven't noticed a single thing he's ever done. Maybe it works on them. Maybe super Democrats who don't pay attention to what's going on believe that garbage.
I guess. But
wow. If you still think he's a great guy, he's a wonderful man, he tells the truth, he's moderate, and you paid zero attention to anything he's done in the last few decades, then maybe you buy into that. But not if you've paid one iota of attention to him. Can you buy that? He also tried hard to explain why he can't shut down the border with executive orders.
Have you made a final decision on taking executive order in terms of what you want to do at the border. That includes the power to shut down the border, as it was suggested.
Well, it suggested that. We're examining whether or not I have that power. I would have that power under the legislation when the border has over 500,000 people, 5,000 people a day trying to cross the border because you can't manage to slow it up.
Right.
There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation. And some have suggested I should just go ahead and try it. And if I get shut down by the court, I get shut down by the court.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's what you do with everything else.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's interesting to me is that,
jeez,
what do you think about this yesterday when he was babbling about bypassing getting shut down by the court?
Mm-hmm.
Getting shut down by the court, that's not getting shut down by the court. That means that you have to follow the Constitution.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But,
I don't know.
Look what he's done with the Supreme Court, who told him he cannot continue to do this debt forgiveness with student loans, and he just keeps doing it anyway, over and over and over, and then he brags about doing it.
And then we're to believe that he can't do the border.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I can't. No, I can't do that. What are we talking about?
And he did take executive actions to shut down everything Trump did. First day in office, he did that. He reversed the Trump restrictions on border crossing. Just eliminated it. So he's done everything he could executively to open up the border. Now you're trying to figure out how to close it? What garbage.
I can't, though. I wish I could.
Yeah, he can't. He can't. He wants to. Just like he can't restrain Israel. I want to, but man, those people are just
oh my gosh,
not listening to me.
His deal on that is it's absolutely maddening.
Yeah, well, that and everything else. Well, everything. Literally everything he does.
Everything else.
It's difficult to even look at the guy without just feeling rage. Is it just us in this room because we deal with it every day? It can't be, right? There's got to be others.
Well, I know of one other person.
And I bet he lives at your house.
He does.
Yeah.
He does live
your father-in-law feels the way we do.
He is an unhappy man toward that.
Especially as it applies to this president.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh.
Does he believe he's worse than Obama like we do?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, no, I'm not saying that. Let's just go with yes.
Yes, let's go with that.
And I got to go ahead and elaborate.
Like I do. I'm sure he doesn't hate him because that would be wrong. I just dislike him with all the intensity of 10 trillion white-hot burning suns.
I think he goes beyond that. But
does he go beyond 10 trillion white-hot burning suns? All right. It happens.
It does.
It happens, I guess. It's a lot of intensity, though.
Yes, it is.
So he lied again about teaching the Second Amendment class in college or wherever. It was at Penn, right? Isn't that where he claims to have?
Well, this was he taught it, I think, at law school.
Okay, here he is.
Is that? Did he didn't go to law? Did he go to law school at Penn?
I don't know where his law school was.
From the very beginning,
and no, he didn't go at Penn.
Second Amendment in law school. From the very beginning, there were limitations. You couldn't own a cannon. You couldn't. You could own a rifle, a gun, but there were certain
things. Yes, you could.
They weren't weapons of war.
You could. Yes, they were. How does he get away with saying this over and over?
And of course, Univision.
It's been debunked by everybody.
And of course, the Univision. Oh, weapons of war.
Weapons of war. You can't have a weapon of war. Yes, that's what the weapons are for. War. If need be. By an invading force, by your own government, by a group of a-holes trying to do harm to you and your family. Who knows? But they're for whatever you need them for. So there are no restrictions. What part of shall not be infringed do you not understand?
Well, the court may shut them down, but we're going to try.
And somebody should tell the guy about privateers in the colonial times who owned cannons. Somebody should tell him that private citizens bought cannons. Yes, they literally bought the thing you say they couldn't buy or own. Incredible. It's just incredible. Over and over and over.
Questioning a man who taught this at law school?
Yeah. Yeah, let's hear that again. He taught it at law school.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, I used to teach the Second Amendment in law school.
What?
From the very beginning.
Okay, that needs to be fact. All right, got it. That needs to be fact checked. Did he teach law school?
There's no way.
He's never taught anything.
Graduated. First of all, I don't know that he graduated. And second, remember when he was babbling years ago about being the top of his class? He wasn't.
Was not. No, that's right. And he said he had multiple degrees. He got one, and it was from Delaware. It wasn't at Penn. He didn't go to Penn as a student. Certainly, this guy didn't go to an Ivy League school.
No.
And he didn't teach law school. I don't think he's taught any time, anywhere, any class. Jeez. Wow. Well, he had
he
quite
went to
a day.
Syracuse College of Law.
Syracuse College of Law.
Yeah, because according to this story back in 2020, he's the first U.S. president since William Howard Taft to graduate from a law school. Outside of the nation's top 14 ranked law schools. So, I mean, they're just giving him some kind of number.
So that's...
They're just giving him some kind of number that's not even ranked in the top 14. So others had graduated from law school, but they were top 14 colleges. Right.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
That's a nice stat. I didn't know that.
So
that's good.
So he graduated from 68.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say anything about him teaching, so maybe he helped his professor or something.
But I mean, the guy was so multi-talented. He went to play football, right, at Delaware, but he also went to law school. He's taught the Second Amendment pretty much everywhere. He went further and taught at Penn and kept secret documents there just in case somebody needed help with some American secret while he wasn't in office. He had them, right by where his professorial office was.
Right.
So he could refer to him on a moment's notice.
According to this story, Kamala also has a law degree.
Yeah.
From University of California's Hastings College of Law.
I love the Hastings College of Law.
That's ranked 59th.
Okay. Where was Syracuse Law ranked?
Let's say Biden was ranked.
It's not in the top 14.
It's not in the top 14. Right. It doesn't say exactly where they're ranked. And he was, according to this, he was ranked 76th in his law school class of 85.
That's right. 76 out of 85.
So top of his class. Top of his class.
Not the very tippy top, but let's not get technical. He was right there.
And
right there in the top 76.
Professors always ask the people ranked 76th out of 85 to help teach classes.
Yeah, always. That's a well-known fact. That dates back time immemorial. So he's got that going for him. Talented, brilliant man.
This guy.
Oh, man. All right, let me take a minute and ask if you've ever wondered just exactly how it is that our politicians enter into public service, making, moderate salaries, but then they end up walking away with incredible amounts of money. They walk out of office millionaires.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Okay, wait. You get a $175,000 salary. All right? I understand that. That's good money.
That's okay.
But how do you become a millionaire on that? Where do the tens of millions of dollars come from while they're in office? And while they're busy earning all of that, who's actually doing the job we sent them there to do in the first place? We all learned from an early age that the best way to get rich in America was get a degree, start a business, or maybe take a job on Wall Street, work hard, save even harder, so then you could make a better life for yourself and for your family. Well, it turns out there's way easier ways than that. Get elected to Congress. Bam! Then you get insider trading tips, and you can invest in things that you know are going to go up or down and bet on the market. So you can join us today at 8 Eastern for a live pre-show event hosted by Glenn Beck and James Polis, followed by the live premiere of Bought and Paid For, How Politicians Get Filthy Rich. It'll be streaming on YouTube and Blaze TV. So go to youtube.com and /@BlazeTV to watch the event live. Subscribers, just watch it on Blaze TV.
Holy cow. Just as an aside.
Hang on.
Okay.
Is unleashed.
Yeah, he's unleashed.
all right.
There we go. Okay, just as an aside.
Yeah.
Syracuse University College of Law,
Yeah.
they are ranked 122nd.
Oh, okay. So they're right up there.
So
So he finished 76th at the 122nd ranked law school.
I mean, they may have been ranked higher
good.
then.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably true. They're probably number 1 back then.
Yeah.
And they've slipped a little since.
Wow.
You know what? They just didn't brag enough about Joe Robinette Biden having attended that law school.
Well, they probably should have listened. There's a quote in here from some stupid professor saying that, I had some kid in my class that I knew was going to be special. He had something special. I was right.
And he's talking about Biden,
Yes.
supposedly?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I know.
He was so special he graduated 76
But he had presents.
out of 85.
He had presents.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He had presents.
Sure. All right. There's a certain kind of genius it takes to finish 76th in your class. Special. It's a special kind of genius. So, after teaching the Second Amendment, to law school students, he knows the Second Amendment, as you know, and he knows about guns. And so he showed some of that knowledge yesterday, reminding us again that nobody needs 100 rounds in a rifle.
Look, I, along with Dianne Feinstein, passed the first limitation on assault weapons and the number of bullets that could be in a rifle. The idea anybody needs 100 rounds in a rifle and an AR-15.
Yeah. The idea that, What? What about it? What about that idea?
It's just silly.
Are the deer wearing Kevlar vests?
I know he was going to get there.
He was.
How many deer out here are wearing Kevlar vests?
Yeah.
All of them? All of them. Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. They distribute them in Texas to all the deer in this state. So that's kind of cool.
That is
Because they want to see if you're accurate enough as a shooter to get them in the head.
Got to give the deer a fighting chance.
Yeah, and if you can't get them in the head, you can't bag the deer because they got Kevlar vests on. So don't try to shoot them in the, in the side.
Yeah, you lose some of the eaten meat.
Mm-hmm. It's not good. So
No, it's not.
Does anybody need it? He just sticks to that. Don't tell me what I need and what I don't need.
Please.
And we've seen so many instances where, 100 rounds, probably not enough.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by gangs, angry mobs, people coming for your stuff, who knows? Who knows what the eventuality will be? When things hit the fan, and it will.
And it shouldn't
The
matter,
stuff is going to hit the fan. No, it should not matter. If I wanted to shoot deer, or I want to do target
If I
practice,
want to shoot empty cans in the middle of a field,
I should be able to do that.
Yes.
100 rounds, 1,000 rounds, I don't care. Shall not be infringed. Leave me alone on it. It's none of your business how many rounds or bullets I have or what kind of rifle I own. It's none of your business. And by the way, I don't own one. Used to. Lost it in that tragic boating accident. It's at the bottom of some body of water somewhere on this planet. I forget where I was.
The cannons I have surrounding my home, they don't work.
They don't work?
They don't work. Yeah.
That's the problem with cannons.
I know.
They become obsolete after time. Yeah. A lot of people just fill them up with,
They look like planters.
Yeah. Yeah, but they make beautiful planters.
They do.
You just can't get one because it's unconstitutional to own a cannon. Always has been. So look it up. Look it up. In the Second Amendment, it says the right to keep and bear arms, you shall not be infringed, except for cannons.
Except for cannons.
Yeah, there's that little parenthetical carve out there. You can't have the cannon. He's so bad. He's so bad. And then see if you can understand what he says here when he's talking about the advice he got, the super profound advice he got from his dad.
My dad used to say a job, Joey, give him my word as a trade. A job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity.
Hey, give him my word.
Job
A
is a
job is a Joey. What?
Oh,
Job.
My dad used to say a job, Joey, give him my word as a trade. A job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity.
I give my word the story. A job
is that
Joey.
what it is?
I give my word
as a story. So his dad was
Your
a
job
story.
is a dignity. I think that's what he says, yeah.
One more time.
My dad used to say a job, Joey, give him my word as a trade. A job's about a lot more than a paycheck.
I think he's trying to say it's true.
Yeah.
Give my word to
he
try.
slurs true story. True's in there.
True,
sorry. Yeah, true, he can't get true out because of the stutter. But,
yeah, right. He's had a lifelong stutter. Don't make fun of him for that.
Were
you making fun of a lifelong stutterer? I hope not.
No,
Okay.
I was not.
All right. I just wanted to make sure because
I don't know if he marks it down as a handicapped, on any paperwork that he fills out for the government, but he should.
No, because there's no such thing as a handicap. You're just handy-capable, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so. I get my word as a man.
My dad used to say Joey as a job. It's just true. A job is about. I forget again.
All right. So then we've got him in an interview.
This is the Univision stuff. That's that Second Amendment. That's the I taught in law school.
But he also talks about Trump, right? The primary threat to freedom.
This whole
Jeez, man. Oh, and they don't challenge him on anything. That's the beauty.
He's right along. You heard him during the Second Amendment. Weapon to war.
Right. Yeah. All right. So here he is talking about Trump.
What, in your view, constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy at home?
Donald Trump. Seriously.
Got to be kidding me.
Donald Trump uses phrases like he's going to eviscerate the Constitution. He's going to be a dictator on day one.
My gosh, you're doing it. You're already dictating. He's already a dictator.
Doing it.
Completely ignoring the U.S. Supreme Court and their rulings. He doesn't care. That's, again, everything they accuse the other side of doing, they're already doing.
100%.
Man.
100%.
Oof. Here's a quick example, too, of Biden's illegal immigrant bloodbath that Donald Trump, that was the auto industry bloodbath, but there's also this kind of bloodbath.
An 18-year-old undocumented migrant from El Salvador has been arrested in Mendota for murdering a man and dismembering his body. Fresno County Sheriff's deputies say the teen, who has not been named because he was 17 at the time of the alleged killing, dismembered 25-year-old Fraley Hernandez back on January 17th. Deputies found Hernandez inside a car in the middle of an orchard near Belmont and Washoe Avenues in Mendota. Officials say Hernandez knew the suspect.
Oh, man. That's lovely, isn't it?
That is.
That's lovely. They're just here for a better life. And, to kill a few people along the way.
Yeah.
But
what are you going to do? You're in an orchard.
What are you going to do? Guy walks into the orchard where you were and disturbs your peace. Oh, you're going to kill him and dismember him. Am I right? How many times has that happened to you? I can't even count. I can't count the number of times. I mean, it is aggravating.
Very aggravating.
When somebody comes into your orchard. Yeah. Unannounced. Jeez. Oh, man.
It's maddening. And we're not supposed to think, and he's, a minor, technically a minor.
Yeah.
So
I would think when you killed and dismembered a man and you're 17, you'll probably be tried as an adult, except he's an illegal alien, so they'll probably just release him.
Yeah.
There's a story today also about the Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol Protection, releasing 125,000 unvetted illegal aliens into the streets of San Diego alone over a 6-month period. 125,000 people. They didn't check into them. They don't know their background. They don't know who they are. They don't know why they're here.
Go.
They just released them onto the streets of San Diego.
Go. Yeah.
That's it. And
so does that mean that we have more than 10 million
illegals that are already here?
I'm sorry, undocumented Americans in America, in the United States?
I mean, yes. Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does mean that. It's probably just slightly higher than that.
Well, 125,000 more than 10 million.
Right. Over the last 6 months. So the county supervisor warned that the release of these unvetted illegals could have dire consequences for the rest of the country. No.
Wait, what?
What? Where are you getting that? All right, we got a Fat Five coming up.
Gray
next.
Unleashed.
Thanks for joining us. Got a few tweets here before we get to chewing the fat with Jeffy. Not of this world tweets. No, Pat, it's not just you. Every morning, Pat screeching is heard in the homes of all of us who follow you. Truth Seeker, the words Biden uses at the end of his rant against the heckler are, answer me. Oh, he was challenging the heckler about whether or not he could take him. Okay.
Oh, that's all right. All right.
Micah 6'8" is enough. I'm surprised Joe Biden didn't say, don't jump to the Arizona climate heckler. Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, they're all getting heckled because whatever they're doing isn't enough. So they've got to appease to the nightmare agenda, or it's just not enough. And there's no line to walk. They're trying to do that, but they can't. You're just not able to. Because
you're not going to be able
radicals
to please all these radicals.
They don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Right. Stand up, Chuck. Oh, Biden has certainly changed the lives of ordinary people for the absolute worst. Tiffany's rambling monologue. Biden canceling college debt is transferring the debt to taxpayers. He's buying votes with taxpayer money. Well, that's for sure. Stand up, Chuck. By the time Biden leaves public office, he'll be claiming to have been the dean of law at an HBCU, historically black college, during the civil rights fight. And from Patriot Beagles 2, Joe was a DEI graduate and now a DEI president. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, time to chew the fat with Jeffy.
Nobody supports who is more than him. He often expresses so on a whim. Keep that bougie sauce off his plate. Heinz ketchup only, there's no debate. It's tons of fun and that's a fact. It's time for Jeffy to chew the fat.
Yeah! Thanks to Fury and Energy for these AI-generated themes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You do, don't
appreciate it all.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
We love it.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
Well, tons of fun is what I've got, just like was in the song. In music news, I might need Bonnie Raitt, a Total Eclipse, or Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse.
Really?
Because
nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
Shot to number 1 on iTunes.
Oh, I bet it
did. As the eclipse took place.
Yeah.
After first topping the Hot 100 back in 1983. So not really a surprise. It's probably back down at the bottom now. But it was up there for the eclipse, man. And your girl, Beyonce, the Houston-born singer.
How did she become my girl?
Well, she's your girl. She's from Houston. Became the first black woman to top the Billboard Country Albums chart after her latest album, Act 2, Cowboy Carter, hit the number 1 spot. It also topped all genres Billboard 200, making her 8th number 1 album. So she released the 27-track country album last month. Since its release, now I love the way they're breaking these numbers down. Since it's released, it's been breaking streaming records. Spotify announced that last week, on the day that the album dropped, well, it dropped on March 29th, it became the platform's most streamed album in a single day in 2024 so far.
That's it?
So then...
So it's just the most streamed album of this year?
In a single day in 2024 so far.
Okay.
The album also earned title of the most first-day streams of a country album by a female artist on Amazon Music. I mean, come on. Ahead of the album's release, she dropped 2 singles. You know, the Super Bowl Sunday, the Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages. Texas Hold'em debuted at number 1 on the country charts, making her the first black woman to top that chart. Beyonce, who is the executive producer of the album, said, "It's the best music I've ever made."
Oh, wow.
Is it? Is it?
I have no clue because I've not heard any of it.
I'm sure you will.
Have you?
I'm sure you will.
Have you listened to any of it?
You can't tear me away from
I'm sure.
From Act 2. Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
By the Queen Bee. I mean, if it shows up, on they tried to show it up on my timeline for something. I was listening. I was hooked on Flowers for a while by Miley Cyrus, and in that timeline they kept trying to push the new Beyonce stuff on me.
And you somehow resisted?
I'm hooked on Miley right now. Don't
what
start
incredible
jamming
willpower
I know.
you have
I know.
not to give in to that. Wow.
Very sad news. The number of restaurants offering 24-hour service has fallen 18% since 2020, according to the Yelp data. New York has lost 13% of its 24-hour restaurants. Los Angeles, 35% of the 24-hour eaters. Chicago is 10%. Pandemic, cost of goods, cost of employees.
Yeah, and employees don't want to work anymore.
Concerned, if not worried about crime, are all a factor. So the breakfast-based chains are trying to rebound, and some have. Around half of the IHOPs, 1,800 locations, are back to being open 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. And 75% of Denny's 1,600 restaurants are open 24 hours again. And food costs, you talk about that being a struggle for them, and I mean, you're well aware of that, have increased 25% since March of 2020. So that's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And they claim that while wages in the leisure and hospitality industry have increased 29%, and they have 1 million unfilled positions where you get, nobody wants to work. And I don't even know that those numbers coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics makes me wonder if those are actually true. But that's what they're reported. And the good news out of all of this, though, is at least all the Waffle Houses are still 24 hours.
Thank goodness.
Well, not still. They did stop for a while, but they're all back to being 24/7. Every one of them.
That's good to know.
I'm a fan. Another place open 24/7 with deliciousness. Kexi cookies. All you have to do is go to Kexi.com.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
that's
simply
right.
the best cookie on the planet.
Buy those anytime, anywhere.
I mean, one happy customer, Heather C., said Kexi cookies are everything they say they are and more.
Wow.
I've ordered several times from this wonderful company, and I can say that I am more than truly satisfied. Thank you, Heather C.
Nice.
Kexi.com.
Nice.
KEKSI.com. DOTCOM. Kexi.com.
If you're part of the loyalty rewards program too, this week you can earn 100
to the commercial.
100 points just for interacting with our social media through the links in our loyalty rewards program.
I didn't know that.
But get the cookies because
wasn't highlighted.
They're delicious.
It wasn't highlighted on my commercial.
That's why I did it.
Okay,
yeah.
So go to Kexi.com, darn it.
Yes, do it.
Make it happen.
Daniel Horowitz had some amazing stats on the unemployment figures they keep throwing out, since you're talking about employment and restaurants that can't fill jobs and all that. They keep claiming 15 million new jobs were created. And, of course, that's such a bogus number.
Well, of course it is.
They really haven't created any, but the way they're doing this is because of the COVID recovery, which 10 million came
So they've
back.
added, well, we knew that.
So
we knew they've taken
jobs.
credit for the COVID recovery.
Yeah. So COVID jobs came back after the pandemic, and that accounts for 10 million. The rest are part-time government jobs and illegal aliens taking jobs. And they smash all of those numbers together, and there's really only 5.5 million jobs that have been created in the last 4 years, but over 8 million people. You forget that the population has gone up in that time.
Right.
They haven't even covered the 8 million new people here.
And you could make the case there's more than 8 million new people.
Yes, you could.
I mean, that's again, that's what I'm saying. They keep
case.
bringing that number, that 10 million. Now we're down to 8 million. They want that number low for amnesty. It's just agonizing. They keep putting. But anyway.
But it's a total scam.
Absolutely.
Total scam. And they get away with it with the major media. Nobody ever fact checks that number.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we bring
million new jobs.
Yeah, great.
How can you complain about the economy when 15 million new jobs? No.
Right.
Jeez.
I mean, every time we turn
Look
around,
into it.
it's another 10,000 more people out of work.
I know. People are really struggling right now.
Yes, they are.
And they keep trying to tell them they're not. No, you're not. You're not struggling. You're doing great. Stop listening to Donald Trump and the right. You're doing great. No, I'm not.
We're not.
It
costs a lot more to survive.
We had that story yesterday where people are skipping meals to afford their rent and mortgage payments.
And I understand. I mean,
come on. Are you skipping meals? Because
I don't necessarily appreciate the tone in your voice, but yes, I am.
Are you?
Yes.
Huh. All right.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Let me eat.
Somewhat surprising, but
Down about 15 missing meals. So
yeah. All right. Well,
why don't you just shut up?
All right. I will. All right.
I'm on a Biden diet. That's not really true, but
yeah, right.
I mean, everyone is paying more for everything.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
There's nowhere, nothing that is less. I'm sorry, there just isn't.
Yeah, and gas prices, geez,
Going through the roof again.
yep, up 50% over 6 months ago.
That Sam's Club that I drive by, I should have stopped. It was like $3.09 for regular.
Oh, wow.
The other
That's
day.
really low.
Well, that was the day before yesterday, and then it went up 13 cents. I mean, overnight.
Man,
Just 13 cents though. I mean,
that's not bad in one day. It's not bad.
Don't worry about it. Thank you. Thank you. The airline industry, along with Boeing in particular, have been in the news quite a bit lately. This is another issue that needs to be addressed. The story, along with pics, were posted on Reddit. This past Friday is when the incident occurred. Flight 422 from Houston to Seattle. The Boeing 737, of course it's on a Boeing, diverted to Dallas less than an hour after takeoff because, well, a dog pooped
Let's go ahead and declare an emergency for Southwest 3695.
Yeah.
And, we'd like
this is a different one. This is a different one. We'll get to that. That's a different. That is not the poop plane.
Oh, a dog pooped on the plane?
That's correct.
And that was an emergency? An emergency for a dog poop.
Yes. It happened next to the first class toilet is why it was an emergency, my friend.
Okay.
All right. The first class.
They couldn't just clean it up.
No.
They
had to divert to Dallas. They spent 2 hours on the ground in Dallas cleaning up this dog poop. One passenger said, the smell made me ill. It never quite went away. We were on the ground. Gate agents kept yelling at passengers and the cabin crew. The first class toilet declared unusable as the dog mess was apparently unresolved in there. Food went bad while on the ground. There was very few snacks left. And
no.
I know. And now one commenter said they saw a woman with the service dog exiting the flight. I don't know that this was a service dog or not, but this incident certainly has sparked some questions about pet policies. United, their rules say that they allow passengers to bring pets in the cabin on some international flights, but on domestic trips, it's okay so long as the dog or cat is in a carrier that fits under a seat. But service animals are allowed without a pet carrier. So if you're...
Had to be a service
it had
animal.
to be,
then.
right?
Yeah, had to be.
And the airline also recommends passengers traveling with pets bring a toy to keep them calm, as well as plastic bags in case of those bathroom emergencies. I mean, I'm in today's world, I don't know, crazy person, dog poop, crazy person, dog poop. I think I might have to go with the crazy person. But what we saw their clip of the issues was another Boeing Houston-bound 737-800 plane operated by Southwest returned to Denver after takeoff this weekend because, the engine cover fell off and struck the wind.
Let's go ahead and declare an emergency for Southwest 3695, and we'd like
Now this...
Yeah, return. We got a piece of the engine cowling hanging off, apparently.
Now they're landing here. The videos of them landing, the audio is when they're turning it around.
That had to freak people out.
I no doubt about it. Look, we apologize for any inconvenience.
Yes, sorry. Sorry the engine almost fell out of the plane. Darn it. That happens, though. It happens. It's Boeing. What are you going to do? Wow.
And this can't be all Boeing's fault.
I don't know.
I mean, it would seem that there's some kind of lackadaisical maintenance workers going on. I mean, maybe it's all Boeing's fault.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just fix it.
Yeah, really.
Fix it.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Fix it, please. That'd be great.
And fix it before my next flight, if you would.
Right.
I don't know when that is exactly, but I want it fixed by then.
We're just going to be about 3 hours behind. And sorry about the inconvenience. We'll get this thing turned around. Go ahead, get off the plane. You're fine.
Well, that wouldn't be that bad if they let you off the plane.
Well,
but
yeah,
a lot of times they don't.
Well, the dog poop one they did, right? So that plane they made everybody get off and get on another plane. But you're right. A lot of times, like the dog poop one, you're just sitting there waiting for him to clean up dog poop.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Right.
No, thank you.
No, thank you at all.
The worst ones are in the sweltering heat when, the toilets are overflowing and all of that, and you have no food, and you've been there for 11 hours, and you're sitting on the tarmac, and they won't let you off.
Right.
That's where I would get arrested.
I think I would, too. I think I would, too.
I'm not staying there. I'm just not.
And we had the one story about, and I'm sure it's happened multiple times, but we had the dog poop story. That's a fresh one. But we had the one story where the lady was, taking care of her human waste on the airplane. We got a little toxic problem. We're going to go ahead and turn this thing around. Yeah,
jeez,
please.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
All right, let me tell you about Fast Growing Trees. It's the biggest online nursery in the United States. They have more than 10,000 different kinds of plants, over 2 million happy customers in the U.S. They have everything you could possibly want: fruit trees, palm trees, evergreens, house plants, so much more. Whatever you're interested in, they've got it for you. They'll find the perfect fit for you, for your climate, for your space. We had this little space in the front yard, in fact, that we needed a tree there for shade and just to increase the curb value. And they came up with the perfect thing for the perfect climate. It's hard in Texas because we've got a weird climate here. It's super hot in the summer.
The sun actually moves closer to
it's
Texas.
3 miles from the surface in the summertime in Texas.
So you need a special
3
kind of
miles. So it really bears down on us. You need the right kind of tree for that environment. And then, of course, in the winter, it can get really, really cold. I mean, we had a really mild winter this time, but except for 1 week, right, where my pipes broke, of course. But anyway, they will find the perfect plant for your space and your client this spring. Climate, not client, but they have the best deals online, up to half off select plants and other deals, too. And because you listen and watch this show, you'll get an additional 15% off your first order when you use the offer code PAT at checkout. That's an additional 15% at fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the promo code PAT at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com. Offer code PAT. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
Hey, be sure to subscribe to my daily show, Chewing the Fat. By the way, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't tell me what to do. Who do you think you are? I don't have to, all right?
No.
Yeah, I don't have to.
Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Well, some tweets here. Peekapool, the leadership leading Pokemon. I mean, this is concerning the illegal alien who dismembered the person in the park.
The orchard.
The orchard, right.
Yeah.
That was an orchard. I mean, who among us hasn't dismembered someone during the halcyon days of our youth? Well, yeah,
right.
Really good point. Let's be frank in Pennsylvania. You take someone apart in a debate club, everyone cheers. But you do it in home ec, and suddenly you're a monster. Or you do it in an orchard, for instance, and suddenly, what? You're a killer now just because you killed one person? Whatever. People are so picky these days.
That's like the stupid. They are picky. They are picky.
They are.
That was one of the jokes of the day on Chewing the Fat. Was I'm never donating blood again. I go in. They want to know whose it is, where it's from. How much is in the bucket? I'm never donating blood again.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. Just an old guy with a mic tweets, with that catchy tune for Chewing the Fat, Jeffy can have his own 80s morning cartoon.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Not the spooky dude. I can't believe that Jeffy is stutter shaming. Right. I couldn't believe it either. I mean, we've carved out the fat shaming here, but he continues to shame.
Have we carved that out, though, really?
We have, yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we don't tolerate that. PSYOP plant. Dog poop is always an emergency. You know in your heart it's true. And unrepentant thought criminal. Whoever thought it was a good idea to let a dog on the flight needs to sit, stay, and play dead.
I mean, the service animal thing, One could make the case that it's a little out of control. But if you need it, you need it.
Sure could.
If you need it, you need it, I guess. I don't know.
If you need it,
if you need it, you need it. You can quote me on that. You can quote me on that.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah. Go ahead. Anytime. On me.
If you need it, you need it. Jeff Fisher. April 10th, 2024. All right. Some interesting information coming from Rand Paul, who has done a little investigating into the COVID-19 situation. And he claims that 15 U.S. agencies knew full well that the Wuhan lab was trying to create a virus like COVID-19 in 2018, and they did nothing. Okay, so somebody needs to be held accountable. If that's true, and certainly it is, somebody's head needs to roll. Somebody needs to go to prison over this.
I mean, we know that it's true.
And that someone is Anthony Fauci.
Yes.
I represent science.
Yes, and he should represent prison inmates because that's where he belongs. This is incredible. How many millions of people died? Because nobody said anything. Nobody did anything about it. We're funding that lab through the NIH, and we know about it, and we do nothing except probably continue to fund it.
We finance it,
and encourage it. So they're trying to blame those deaths on Donald Trump because he didn't act supposedly the way they wanted him to. Are you kidding me? And these people have done nothing, knew about it the whole time, and just sat on their hands, didn't warn anybody, didn't try to say, hey, stop with that research. There's no need to create this virus. Why?
Prior to the actual
breakout. To it happening. Yeah.
And as far as Trump is concerned, I mean, really, he didn't listen to his gut. He made a mistake and didn't listen to his gut. And
he won't admit that, but
no, I know, but
it's true.
He should have realized now we're opening this thing back up.
So these officials, according to Rand Paul, knew that the Chinese lab was proposing to create a COVID-19-like virus, and not one of them revealed that scheme to the public. In fact, 15 agencies with the knowledge of that project have continuously refused to release any information concerning this alarming and dangerous research. Government officials representing at least 15 federal agencies were briefed on a project proposed by Peter Daszak, Eco Health Alliance head, Peter, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Peter's great.
Love Peter.
Right up until this particular point, and then maybe not so much. This project, the Diffuse Project, proposed to insert furin cleavage sites into a coronavirus to create a novel chimeric virus that would have been shockingly similar to the COVID-19 virus. Oh, okay, well, all the technical stuff aside, they knew about it, they did nothing, and nothing is going to happen to anyone.
Nope.
And we all know it.
And I don't know I don't know the timeline. I don't have it in front of me. But what was the timeline when we decided we weren't going to do this type of research here in the U.S., right? And so Fauci just took it offshore.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Well, I'll just finance it then somewhere else. I mean,
that's exactly what happened.
Holy cow. The guy is.
And he's not held accountable for
No, not at all.
For any of it.
We're supposed to believe that he's actually is science. And we're admitting now that almost everything that they said during the pandemic, and especially in the beginning, was, we just made it up.
Mm-hmm.
We just made it up.
You know who we need to put on this case is Lori Lightfoot, because she's an incredible, the former mayor of Chicago, incredible investigator.
I mean, she's not a Cannon. She's not a Frank Cannon. Don't start.
Well, she's like a Jake and the Fat Man, except for the female version of Jake and the Fat Man.
First of all,
yes.
Frank Cannon was much better than Jake and the Fat Man, but
okay.
It's okay.
Well,
bad.
I'm saying
too bad we lost.
She doesn't even rise to the level of
No,
Jake
she
and
does
the Fat
not.
Man.
No,
But she's
no.
brilliant.
No, you're right.
Make no
You're right
mistake.
there.
She
You're
is
right there.
brilliant. That's why she's been hired to investigate a corrupt mayor of a suburban Chicago town. Here's a report on that.
Lightfoot starts her new role as special investigator for the village of Dalton tomorrow. She will be launching a probe into Henyard's mishandling of village funds. A trustee tonight says the village is more than $7 million in debt. Henyard last month vetoed calls for an investigation into herself, but that was overturned tonight. Lightfoot has also been asked to investigate a work trip to Las Vegas last year, which resulted in a former employee alleging she was sexually assaulted by a village trustee, then fired for speaking up. That trustee was one of two not in attendance tonight, along with Henyard. The move to hire Lightfoot was made by 4 village trustees who say they are looking to take their community back.
Okay. What's not mentioned in that quick report?
I know.
Is what they're paying Lori Lightfoot for this investigation, and that's $400 an hour.
It's a good gig.
It's a good gig if you can get it. $400 an hour,
and I'm sure that's
$64,000 a month.
I'm sure that is, my friend, minus expenses. I mean, plus expenses.
Of course it is.
Plus expenses.
Yes. $400 an hour plus expenses.
Whatever we're getting on that. Yeah.
So $64,000 a month, $768,000 a year. Plus expenses.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, I'm sure she'll have that wrapped up 5 to 10 years tops. 5 to 10. Tops. I mean, this is such a comprehensive issue because there's allegations of corruption and malfeasance, and she's just a bad person, and I got to look into everything.
Well, look,
I'm going to have to pull this apart.
She is a bad
at
person.
The seams.
And she is not only the mayor of this town, but she's also a county commissioner.
So she's double dipping.
Yeah.
Double dipping. And so it's going to take me twice as long to do the investigating.
It's going to be difficult.
I should be able to wrap this up within 10, 15, 20 tops, 20 years tops.
Maybe,
$768,000
maybe 10 if I can get
expenses.
a couple more investigators to help me.
Maybe.
Under me.
Maybe. I'll tell you what. I'll do my best. Get this wrapped up in the next decade, okay? If you give me 2 other investigators. I'm not paying
my
significant other.
I'm not paying the money out of what you're paying me.
No, that's plus.
Okay, yeah.
Plus assistance.
Yeah, I mean that's separate.
Part of the
that's separate
expenses.
from my. No, that is not separate from what I'm being paid.
Yes.
And my expenses.
Right.
Their salary is separate. Don't even. I mean, you want this thing wrapped up, don't you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Can we get it done within a decade? I don't know, but maybe.
I'm going to do my best.
Okay.
As a seasoned investigator, I'm going to do my best.
Who said? You know who we need on this case? Lori Lightfoot.
That's a good gig, my friend. That's a good gig.
It's a great gig.
I don't know how you get it.
Over $750,000 a year.
I mean, Lori, I guess, was just hanging out at the house in Chicago, going, you know what they need? They need an investigator.
They do, yeah. And I'm just the person for that gig.
Wow. I know.
Wow. I mean, seriously, is she even an investigator of any kind? I don't know what her background is.
Well, I'm sure she's familiar with corruption.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
And she's familiar with, how government works, which would make her familiar with corruption in Chicago.
Jeez. That is fantastic. Talk about corruption. So you hire a corrupt politician to investigate another corrupt politician. Great idea. The Village. What is the Village called? Idiots? The Village Idiots?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what the Village is. It's a village full of idiots.
I mean, seriously, now it wasn't reported, and I didn't see it anywhere, although I didn't read the entire thing. I don't know if they gave her a timeline of saying, look, we're going to pay you.
No, I didn't see one.
Yeah, I'm like, we're
gonna pay you $400 an hour, but we want it wrapped up in 2 hours.
Or, we need to,
Can you wrap it up in 2 hours?
We need to cap this.
Well, yeah, we'll give you $800. All right, $400 an hour, capped at 2 hours. Because otherwise, isn't that what you would do? Is drag this out as long as you possibly can?
And the city's already missing what, 7-8 million?
Yeah, they're down 8 million.
I mean,
yeah. That's crazy.
So the city, look, we got to raise your taxes to pay off the debt of our former corrupt mayor, and then we have to pay our investigators.
The corrupt investigator that we hired to investigate our corrupt mayor.
I mean, I guess because there's no district attorney, I guess, or
I don't know.
District
I
attorney.
don't know what their situation is, but that's bizarre. I've never seen anything like it. But we're seeing that kind of stuff every day.
No kidding.
Right? That is unprecedented. Then we've got this unprecedented vice president who pulled off another word salad trying to explain the nature of democracy. This is going to be informative. You got to believe.
It's important to see that, the nature of democracy, there's a duality to it. It has two sides to it.
Mm-hmm. There's a duality.
On the one hand, there's incredible strength, right? That when a democracy is intact, what it does for its people.
What does it do?
In terms of the strength it gives its people and protects in terms of individual freedoms and rights, right? And liberties.
Right. Yeah.
There's an incredible strength in that, what it does for its people when it is intact.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, democracy, extraordinarily fragile.
Fragile, yeah. It's strong.
It's only as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
Oh, wow.
That's by nature what a democracy is.
By nature.
It is about the people.
There it is. She summed it up. It's about the people.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
No, I didn't think that. I've never thought that in my life until she said it. Powerful, wasn't it?
I'm not familiar with the I've Had It podcast, but
you're not?
She is powerful.
She is very, very powerful. I think she also gave her best wishes to Don Lemon in his upcoming nuptials.
Well,
right?
the nuptials happened.
Oh, the wedding's over?
The wedding is over. The nuptials
without an
happened.
invite? Where's my invite? Wait.
Now, I will be covering this on Overtime today because I am fascinated by this wedding. The stars aligned for Don Lemon's wedding. But you want to play Kamala wishing them well? Yeah, absolutely.
I do.
This was pre-wedding.
Okay.
And well,
here she is.
It's Kamala Harris. Is this Don Lemon?
Yes, it is, Madam Vice President. How are you?
I am well, and I'm calling to wish you all the best this weekend. And I remember when you and I talked about your relationship, I don't know how many years ago.
Yes, and Tim is here listening to you.
Don't tell him what I said about him then, okay?
I won't tell him how I said on TV I hate white people.
I wish to you both from me and Doug.
Thank you so much, and we look up to you. You are a couple.
He's going to give him some advice too.
Okay, good.
You know what? Here's the thing. Unrequested advice. You just have to enjoy laughing and at yourself and each other. You have to just always end the day with, no matter how tired you are.
Well, no matter how, then it cuts off. This was his story, so we can get rid of this. And then it just cut off. This was his story, so we didn't get the ending of her advice. But you have to. You have to laugh, no matter how tired you are.
Okay.
Thanks for that advice.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. So Don Lemon did marry that guy.
Tim Malone. The marriage actually happened.
Interesting.
We will cover that on Overtime because it is fascinating to me.
Why?
It just is.
Why?
It just is. The celebrities
just a
that showed up
traditional
for the
old-fashioned romance. What about that intrigues you?
I have never been to a wedding where
just the boy meets boy story, boy marries boy story that we all have come to know and love over the years.
That's correct.
What about that fascinates you?
The whole thing fascinates me. It's the story. The story of love fascinates me.
Don and John sitting in a tree.
Tim.
Don and Tim sitting in a tree. Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage. Then
comes their two dogs.
Then their dogs, and adoption and stuff, and all that.
One of them will get in vitro and will be good.
Right? Yes, exactly. All right. Well, just like it was back during the pandemic, today we're facing drug and medical supply shortages in the United States. Isn't that fun? Whoever thought this would happen? As of March, there were more than 200 drug shortages here in the U.S., and it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. Health experts have pointed to shortages of domestic production, supply chain security act problems, trends to watch this year. It's not good. You wouldn't think that would happen here, but it's happening here. And we've been seeing it literally for the last few years. So this is why you should have the Jace case. Case that comes with 5 different antibiotics. You could do other add-ons, things like ivermectin, just in case. Just fill out a simple form online, and you have it there, ready in case there are, any kind of shortages or inconvenience. You're out of town. You want to go see the next solar eclipse in Iceland, and you're not near your doctor or your pharmacy. Well, you've got your medication right there with you. Jace case. It's empowering people just like you to be able to take your family's health into your own hands. Go to jacemedical.com. Enter the promo code PAT at checkout for a discount on your order. That's promo code PAT at jacemedical.com.
Pat Gray.
Just had a little argument erupt during the break after we played the promo of Glenn talking about
Blaze Radio. Yeah,
he's talking about his mom making soup in a bathtub.
Yeah, and they were talking about.
I'm sorry, I'm not eating your bathtub soup.
Well, first of all, yes, you are. You're going to eat.
Nasty.
No, the tub was clean.
No.
And they put the ingredients in.
You can't get a tub clean enough
yes, you can.
For me to eat out of it.
You're not eating out of the tub.
Whose mom ever made bathtub soup? Well, no.
You put the ingredients in the tub and you mix it up and then you can it. You put it in the jars and you can it. So you're having the soup.
No, thank you. I'm not having the soup. Nope. No one can make me eat the soup.
That's what we're having for dinner.
My mom says either eat the soup, eat the bathtub soup, or you're going to bed. I'm going to bed.
I'm almost positive Mom didn't call it
going to bed hungry.
Bathtub soup, but
that's what it is. Soup made in a bathtub is bathtub soup. I'm not eating bathtub soup for anybody.
You're eating the soup.
I mean, the king of the world could be there. I'm not eating your bathtub soup.
You are eating the soup for dinner. You are eating the soup for dinner. That's what you're doing.
No.
It's going to be heated up and it's in front of you to eat. You're going to eat it.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
You don't know me, my friend.
I'm
if you think
telling
I'm
you.
eating bathtub soup, because it ain't happening. It's not happening.
I mean, I was forced to eat my relatives and my mom and dad canned all that stuff for years and years
Did your mom make bathtub soup?
No, she didn't.
Okay. Bathtub soup? This is a new thing on me. I've never. Fortunately, Glenn joins us to explain.
You're going to eat the soup.
You're going to eat the soup.
You're going to eat the soup.
I'm saying
you are eating the soup.
I'm saying, Mary, I'm not eating your bathtub soup. Okay? People bathe in the bathtub. I don't eat from it.
It was never called bathtub soup.
That's what I just said.
Right, I heard you. Yes. It was never called bathtub soup. It was
that's
just
what it is.
Mom's really good vegetable soup.
Thank you.
She's making some vegetable soup.
No.
And it didn't occur to me that it was bathtub soup until it was too late.
You're going to eat the soup.
And it was good soup.
You're going to eat
it
the
was
soup.
good soup.
I have never, I don't think you ever shared that story.
Apparently not. Stu was shocked by it.
35 years together, you've never told me about bathtub soup.
Yeah, well, you know what's weird is I was more grossed out by the garbage can soup.
That's pretty bad too.
Yeah, well, no, it was a new garbage can.
Yeah, it was the new garbage can.
Brand
Never
new,
been used.
brand new, and it had liners in it.
Did your mom not have a big pot?
Well, that's what the trash can was.
I have no idea how much soup my mother
That's
made.
a lot of soup
she would make
that would fill either a gas or a garbage can or a bathtub.
She
That's
would
a lot
make
of soup.
at least a year's worth of everything.
Holy cow.
We never bought vegetables. We never bought soup. We never bought it.
So you're eating the soup.
She made it.
You're eating the soup.
I am not touching. You can beat me with a paddle. You can drag me by the hair. You can send me to bed without supper for a year. I'm not eating bathtub soup.
I have a photo that I'll share with you since you brought this up. I have a photo that my sister just sent of a friend of ours who my mom was smart enough, I think, not to take any pictures, incriminating pictures of her making it.
Yeah, well, Instagram didn't exist.
Right. But she took a picture of a friend of hers that was making soup. She taught how to can and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
She goes over and she's mixing all of the vegetables in the bathtub.
Nice.
But this
That's
is
what I mean. You're eating the soup.
worst picture ever.
We got to see that.
Oh, it's the worst
I gotta see that.
picture ever. I'll give it to you on the show. They're uploading it now.
That's tremendous.
Oh, she found it, and I vomited a little in my mouth.
I bet.
I was like,
oh my God.
Well, fortunately, you didn't have to eat her soup. You were eating your
no, I
mother's
ate my
soup.
mom's
That's
soup,
correct.
and my mom was a clean freak.
Right.
She was a clean.
She took
freak.
everything out of the house once a year, cleaned
Once a
everything
year.
top to bottom.
I mean, it was like it was bleak. You could have killed somebody in that bathroom, and you wouldn't have known. Monk could have shown up and been like, "Nothing happened in here. Nothing happened in here."
That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Well,
so
what do you
how did she cook it then? I mean,
well, it's canned.
Okay,
Then you cook it in a pot.
So
Okay,
here's what
it's
to do.
canned, and then
we
you-
would spend all summer, whenever the crop was in, she would bring just buckets of vegetables, and then we would have to wash
Break it
them,
up, you
clean
split
them,
the beans,
cut them,
split
split
the
the
beans,
beans,
all the
the peas.
onions,
We did that
all of it. Yeah,
all
I
summer long.
welcome.
There's no amount of Clorox on the face of the planet that would make me okay with bathtub soup.
Well, first of all, you don't want the Clorox to mix in with the soup because then it adds to the takes away from the flavor.
I'm not eating any of it.
You don't know my mom. She was like,
no, I don't.
No, she was.
But you're eating
this
the soup.
is before she was drinking. Okay, all right. I definitely wouldn't have had it when she was drinking. She'd be like, "Oh, so what if there's a tooth in there?"
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
By the way, I'll be joining Glenn, filling in for Stu today on his show, too. So you want to hear more about the bathtub soup? I'm sure
I
it'll
think
come
that's
up.
going to be served.
I think it is.
I think you're having the soup.
It is.
You're eating the
I'm
soup.
not eating the soup.
You're going to eat the soup.
Think of this. Think of this. It's people have bathed in the bathtub. Literally, their butts have been in the bathtub. So essentially what you're eating, if you're eating bathtub soup, is ass soup. I'm not eating ass soup. I'm not.
It's been cleaned. It's been cleaned. You do the same thing with your pots and pans. You wash it with soap and water, rinse it, and then you reuse it.
Nope.
You're eating the soup.
No, thank
That's
you.
what we're having for dinner. You're
I'm
eating
saying,
the
you know
soup.
what? I just ate before I came over. I am filled to the brim. I wish I had room for ass soup, but I don't.
I'll wait out in the living room.
Unreal. All right. I want to share this opinion. It's pretty long, but there is a 25-year NPR employee, National Public Radio, who wrote an article, How NPR Lost America's Trust. Did you read that?
I have not read the entire story, but I know of what you speak. Yes, it's pretty incredible.
Is incredible. Apparently, the guy still works there. I don't know if he will for long, but he's been there for 25 years.
Well, that's technically a government job. You can't get rid of anybody working in the government.
I guess that's true. And this is a pretty good evidence of that. But he writes, you know the stereotype of the NPR listener. An EV driving, Wordle playing, tote bag carrying coastal elite. That's for sure. It doesn't precisely describe me, but it's not far off. I'm Sarah Lawrence educated, was raised by a lesbian peace activist mother. I drive a Subaru, and Spotify says my listening habits are most similar to people who live in Berkeley. I mean, that is, yes. He says I fit the NPR mold. I'll cop to that. So when I got a job here 25 years ago, I never looked back. As a senior editor on the business desk, where news is always breaking, we've covered upheavals in the workplace, supermarket prices, social media, and AI.
I bet everything. Sure.
It's true, NPR has always had a liberal bent. No.
Well, see that?
Shocking.
I know.
Shocking. But during most of my tenure here, an open-minded, curious culture prevailed.
Okay.
I'd probably disagree with him on that, but okay, grant that. We were nerdy, but not knee-jerk, activist, or scolding. In recent years, however, that has changed. Today, those who listen to NPR or read its coverage online find something different. The distilled worldview of a very small segment of the U.S. population. If you're conservative, you will read this and say, duh, it's always been that way. Yes,
there you
and
go.
he's right about that. But it hasn't, he says. For decades, since its founding in 1970, a wide swath of America tuned in to NPR for reliable journalism and gorgeous audio pieces. I mean, that's true, with birds singing in the Amazon. Millions came to us for conversations that exposed us to voices around the country and the world radically different from our own, engaging precisely because they were unguarded and unpredictable. No image generated more pride within NPR than the farmer listening to Morning Edition from his or her tractor at sunrise. Well, back in 2001, although NPR's audience tilted a bit to the left, it still bore a resemblance to America at large. 26% of listeners described themselves as conservative. Kind of hard to believe, but okay. 23% middle of the road and 37% liberal. By 2023, the picture was completely different. Only 11% described themselves. I don't know what 11% of conservatives are listening to NPR. That's got to be agonizing. But 11% described themselves as very or somewhat conservative, 21% middle of the road, and 67% of listeners said they were very or somewhat liberal. We weren't just losing conservatives, we were also losing moderates and traditional liberals. An open-minded spirit no longer exists within NPR, and now, predictably, we don't have an audience that reflects America. That wouldn't be a problem for an openly polemic news outlet serving a niche audience. But for NPR, which purports to consider all things, thus the show, it's devastating, both for its journalism and its business model. This is a pretty honest assessment. Listen to some of the examples here. Like many unfortunate things, the rise of advocacy took off with Donald Trump, he says. As in many newsrooms, again, this is a 25-year employee at NPR. His election in 2016 was greeted at NPR with a mixture of disbelief, anger, and despair. Just to note, I eagerly voted against Trump twice, but felt we were obliged to cover him fairly. But that began as tough, straightforward coverage of a belligerent, truth-impaired president, veered toward efforts to damage or topple Trump's presidency. Persistent rumors that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia over the election became the catnip that drove our reporting. At NPR, we hitched our wagon to Trump's most visible antagonist, Adam Schiff. Oof, that was a mistake.
No kidding.
Schiff, who was the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, became NPR's guiding hand, its ever-present muse. By my count, NPR hosts interviewed Schiff 25 times about Trump and Russia. During many of those conversations, Schiff alluded to purported evidence of collusion. The Schiff talking points became the drumbeat of NPR news reports. But when the Mueller report found no credible evidence of collusion, NPR's coverage was notably sparse. Russiagate quietly faded from our programming. It's one thing to swing and miss on a major story. Unfortunately, it happens. That's true. You follow the wrong leads, you get misled by sources you trusted, you're emotionally invested in a narrative, and bits of circumstantial evidence never add up. It's bad to blow a big story. What's worse is to pretend it never happened, to move on with no mea culpas, no self-reflection, especially when you expect high standards of transparency from public figures and institutions, but don't practice those standards yourself. That's what shatters trust and engenders cynicism about the media. Russiagate was not NPR's only miscue. In October 2020, the New York Post published the explosive report about the laptop Hunter Biden abandoned. This is a pretty honest assessment so far, right?
So far, yeah.
At a Delaware computer shop containing emails about his sordid business dealings. With the election only weeks away, NPR turned a blind eye. Here's how NPR's managing editor for news at the time explained the thinking. We don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories, and we don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions. But it wasn't a pure distraction or a product of Russian disinformation, as dozens of former and current intelligence officials suggested. The laptop did belong to Hunter Biden. Its contents revealed his connection to the corrupt world of multi-million-dollar influence peddling and its possible implications for his father. The laptop was newsworthy, but the timeless journalistic instinct of following a hot story lead was being squelched. During a meeting with colleagues, I listened as one of NPR's best and most fair-minded journalists said it was good we weren't following the laptop story because it could help Trump. Wow. When the essential facts of the Post's reporting were confirmed and the emails verified independently about a year and a half later, we could have fessed up to our misjudgment, but like Russia collusion, we didn't make the hard choice of transparency. Politics also intruded into NPR's COVID coverage. Really? Most notably in reporting on the origin of the pandemic. Yeah, well, it could be mentioned, too, that it wasn't just the origin you missed. It's also the exaggeration of COVID. It's the exaggeration of the vaccine and how the vaccine has hurt people since. You could be getting into that right now. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of stories about it.
How people were treated throughout this entire pandemic.
But he goes on. One of the most dismal aspects of COVID journalism is how quickly it defaulted to ideological storylines. For example, there was Team Natural Origin supporting the hypothesis that the virus came from a wild animal market in Wuhan, China. And on the other side, Team Lab Leak leaning into the area that the virus escaped from a Wuhan lab, which we know almost for certain that's what happened now. The lab leak theory came in for rough treatment almost immediately, dismissed as racist or a right-wing conspiracy theory. Anthony Fauci and former NIH head Francis Collins, representing the public health establishment, were its most notable critics. And that was enough for NPR. We became fervent members of Team Natural Origin. Yeah, so it came from a monkey or a turtle or a bat. Remember the bat soup theory?
They also claimed that it was a bat being sold out the back door that was all hyped up, and then somebody ate it, which then got the disease. It was just crazy.
Crazy. Even declared that the lab leak had been debunked by scientists, but that wasn't the case. When word first broke of a mysterious virus in Wuhan, a number of leading virologists immediately suspected it could have leaked from a lab conducting experiments on bat coronaviruses. This was in January 2020, during calmer moments before a global pandemic had been declared and before fear spread and politics intruded. Again, 25-year veteran journalist at NPR talking about NPR. Reporting on a possible lab leak soon became radioactive. Fauci and Collins apparently encouraged the March publication of an influential scientific paper known as the Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2. Its authors wrote they didn't believe any type of laboratory-based scenario is plausible. But the lab leak hypothesis wouldn't die, and understandably so. In private, even some of the scientists who penned the article dismissing it sounded a different tune. One of the authors, Andrew Rombout, an evolutionary biologist from Edinburgh University, wrote to his colleagues, "I literally swivel day by day thinking it's a lab escape or natural." Over the course of the pandemic, a number of investigative journalists made compelling, if not conclusive, cases for the lab leak. But at NPR, we weren't about to swivel or even tiptoe away from the insistence with which we backed the natural origin story. And he goes on about that. Instead, we introduced our coverage of that development on February 28, 2023, by asserting confidently that the scientific evidence overwhelmingly points to a natural origin for the virus. She's still sticking to it. When a colleague on our science desk was asked why they were so dismissive of the lab leak theory, the response was odd. The colleague compared it to the Bush administration's unfounded argument that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction, apparently meaning we won't get fooled again. But these two events were not even remotely related. Again, politics were blotting out the curiosity and independence that ought to have been driving our work. I'm offering 3 examples of widely followed stories where I believe we faltered. Our coverage is out there in the public domain. Anyone can read or listen for themselves and make their own judgment. But to truly understand how independent journalism suffered at NPR, you need to step inside the organization. And you need to start with CEO John Lansing. He came to NPR in 2019 from the federally funded agency that oversees Voice of America.
Oh, wow.
Super liberal.
Oh, yeah.
VOA. Like others who have served in the top job at NPR, he was hired primarily to raise money and to ensure good working relations with hundreds of member stations that acquire NPR's programming. After working mostly behind the scenes, Lansing became a more visible and forceful figure after the killing of George Floyd in May 2020. It was an anguished time in the newsroom, personally and professionally. So for NPR staffers, Floyd's murder, captured on video, changed both the conversation and the daily operations at NPR. The message from the top turned very different. America's infestation with systemic racism was declared loud and clear. It was a given. Our message, our mission was to change it. So they decided there is systemic racism, and that's what caused the death, and that's what we need to change in America. Yeah. So they were activists, not journalists. When it comes to identifying and ending systemic racism, Lansing wrote in a company-wide article, we can be agents of change. Listening and deep reflection are necessary, but not enough. They must be followed by constructive and meaningful steps forward. I will hold myself accountable for this.
Will you?
Jeez, man. I mean, this is really incredible about what an activist organization NPR really is, as they claim to be this non-biased, so elite news organization that will just never consider tainting a story with our own opinions whatsoever. And that's all they do.
That's all they do.
It's all they do. So he also declared that diversity on our staff and in our audience was the overriding mission, the North Star of the organization. Phrases like, that's part of the North Star, became part of meetings and more casual conversation.
Ugh.
Race and identity became paramount in nearly every aspect of the workplace. Journalists were required to ask everyone we interviewed their race, gender, and ethnicity, among other questions, and had to enter it in a centralized tracking system. We were given unconscious bias training sessions. A growing DEI staff offered regular meetings imploring us to start talking about race.
We need a conversation.
Yeah, like we hadn't had one, right?
We need a conversation.
We've mocked that many, many times. Can we just have the conversation about race? Like we haven't. Monthly dialogues were offered for women of color and men of color. Non-binary people of color were included, too. These initiatives, bolstered by a $1 million grant from the NPR Foundation, came from management from the top down. Crucially, they were in sync culturally with what was happening at the grassroots among producers, reporters, and other staffers. Most visible was a burgeoning number of employee resource or affinity groups based on identity. Listen to some of the identity groups at NPR. They included MGIPOC, Marginalized Genders and Intersex People of Color Mentorship Program. Magenta, Latinx employees at NPR. NPR Noir, that's black employees at NPR. Southwest Asians and North Africans at NPR. UMA, for Muslim identifying employees. Women, gender expansive, and transgender people in technology throughout public media. Kever, Jewish heritage and culture at NPR. And NPR Pride, that's LGBTQIA2+ employees at NPR. All this
That's awesome.
Isn't that great? That they reflected all of these people in a broader movement in the culture of people clustering together based on ideology or a characteristic of birth. And this goes on and on and on. And apparently it still hasn't changed. And that's why he's going, going public with this.
I mean, it's incredible, but if I'm this guy, I would not work close to a window ledge.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It's just an idea. I mean, I'm not saying anything's going to happen.
Isn't that the truth?
I'm just saying that, I wouldn't work close to the window.
Yeah.
That's all.
No kidding. All right. There's a very common sense reason gold is pushing all-time highs right now. Actually, there's several reasons. The cost of goods continues to rise. Despite interest rate controls by the Fed, The cost of living is up 17.9%, so about 18%. The national debt continues to skyrocket. It's now about $34 trillion, going up $1 trillion every 100 days. And presidential election year is having a massive implication on the future of the country. All this adds up to instability and uncertainty, which is why so many Americans are turning to Birch Gold. If you've diversified your savings, then great. But if you haven't yet, please do it. Secure a portion of them in gold from Birch Gold. Text PAT to 989898. Get your free info kit. You'll learn how to convert an existing IRA or 401k into tax-sheltered IRAs in gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. They have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, tens of thousands of happy customers. You can count on Birch Gold. All you have to do is text PAT to 989898. They'll send you a free info kit on how to protect your savings from uncertainty today. Go through it, make sure it's right for you, and then get it done. Diversify your savings into gold at Birch Gold. Text PAT to 989898.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome to it. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Also, it is youtube.com/Pat Gray if you want to check us out on YouTube. And of course, you can just go to theblazetv.com and subscribe. And you can check out Overtime, our Overtime, and everybody else's as well. And then have access to all the great specials we're doing right now.
We failed to congratulate DFW International Airport. Way back in 2016, they were among the first major facilities in the U.S. to say that they were going carbon neutral, meaning that it would reduce its carbon emissions and pay for carbon offsets on the open market. And it was going to cost the airport about $30,000 a year to negate the tons of carbon emissions that it does. Well, we found out this morning they have paid enough money. They actually announced at their airport that they are now the first carbon neutral airport in America. Do we not have that sign?
DFW is carbon neutral?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've paid enough money. They have paid enough money to be carbon neutral. So congratulations.
$30,000 was all it took?
We have the sign. No, $30,000 a year.
$30,000
There we go. Yeah, so we are now in harmony. Well, they announced they were going to do this in 2016.
Committed to harmony between aviation and the environment.
The first
carbon neutral airport in the Americas.
Huh?
Wow.
Congratulations.
I don't know what that really means. Do you understand the carbon neutral situation where you do the offsets and that fixes the environment somehow?
You're good.
Okay, you got 2,800 flights coming in and out of DFW every day.
That's right.
But if you plant a tree?
$30,000 a year is a small price to pay.
It is. Yeah, it actually is.
To be able to put up your sign that you're carbon neutral.
Wow. All right, well, congratulations, DFW.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What are they? I think they're like fourth or fifth most active, busiest airport in the world, or something.
They certainly are in the top five. I think they dominate between Atlanta and they go
I'm
back
very
and forth,
excited they're carbon neutral now. That's fantastic. I wonder how many trees they had to plant.
And they still tick me off for charging me to drive on their property. I hate that.
If you just pick up people. You just drive around.
It's not possible
you don't
just
stop
to pick up people or drop off people without being charged.
You still have to pay at least $2.
And if you drive too close on the highway, you get dinged. By the way, no, that's not true. But if you have a toll pass, they just use that to get in and out of the airport. You can use that to get in and out of the airport.
Yes.
And so,
but it still costs $2.
Absolutely.
They deduct the $2 from your from your account.
Just my point.
With the toll tag.
Drive by too close on the interstate.
I hate it. It's just ridiculous. There are airports, Salt Lake City among them, where you can drive in, drop somebody off, or pick somebody up, and you don't pay.
To be honest, I don't know how that is legal. Because I know
that you have to pay.
Yeah. Just to go in and drop off.
It's crazy.
Or pick up and come back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Does not seem right.
You're right. It is. It's absolutely wrong. You know what else is wrong? Fatty liver. A lot of Americans
You're
have
telling
it, and you don't have to deal with it. The latest data from the American Heart Association indicates that adults with fatty liver are 3.5 times more likely to have heart failure than those without. And about 100 million of us in America have fatty liver, so we're all at risk. Many of us, about a third of the country, actually. So maybe you should do something about that. Like, I don't know, Liver Health Formula, an all-natural supplement, contains 11 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge your liver and protect it. You can try Liver Health Formula and get a free bottle of nano-powered omega-3 to keep your heart healthy as well. Try Liver Health Formula right now by going to getliverhelp.com/Pat. Claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Pat. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see if Jeffy is man enough to join us for the whole week and finish what he starts, or will he take tomorrow off and not show up until Friday?
I'll get kind of hungry
We'll
for
have
soup.
to see, because I believe Keith is back tomorrow, right? We'll see.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.